The cold rain poured relentlessly over the streets of Seattle. Cars splashed through puddles. People hurried beneath umbrellas. Store lights reflected across the wet pavement. And standing outside a downtown office building, 42-year-old Ethan Ross stared at a small cardboard box containing everything left from his career. A coffee mug, a framed photo, a few work papers. 20 years of loyalty packed into a box. 30 minutes earlier, Ethan had been fired. No warning, no second chance, no farewell speech, just a short meeting and a security escort to the elevator. The company was downsizing, profits were falling, employees were numbers, and Ethan's number had finally come up. As he stood beneath the rain, his phone buzzed. A message from his 12-year-old daughter, Sophie. "Dad, don't forget parent night tonight. Love you." Ethan smiled despite everything. 3 years ago, cancer had taken his wife, Sarah. The disease stole her health, then their savings, then their future plans. After she passed away, Ethan became mother and father, provider and protector. Every morning, he woke up for one reason: Sophie. Only Sophie. Now he had no job, no savings, and exactly $80 left in his wallet. $80, that was all. Enough for gas, enough for groceries, enough to survive another day. Ethan looked toward the gray sky for a moment. The weight of everything nearly crushed him, but then he remembered something. Sarah always said, "When life gets hard, Ethan, don't let it change who you are." He took a deep breath, picked up his box, and started walking across town. A woman sat alone on a park bench. Her clothes were simple. Her hair was hidden beneath a hood. Her shoulders trembled from the cold. People walked past without noticing. Some glanced briefly, then looked away. Nobody stopped. Nobody asked if she was okay. Nobody cared. Ethan almost kept walking too. Almost. Then he noticed something. The woman wasn't crying. She looked defeated. The kind of defeated that comes after fighting too long. The kind of defeated Ethan recognized immediately, because he had seen it in the mirror. He approached carefully. The woman looked up. Her eyes were red, exhausted, guarded. "You all right?" She forced a smile. "I'm fine." Ethan knew that smile. It was the same lie he told Sophie every day. "No," he said gently. Not for several seconds. She said nothing, then quietly whispered, "I haven't eaten since yesterday." Ethan felt his stomach tighten. His hand moved instinctively toward his wallet. $80. His last $80. The money he desperately needed. The money Sophie depended on. Logic screamed at him. "Keep it. You need it. Nobody will blame you. Nobody will know." Then another voice spoke inside his heart. The voice that sounded exactly like Sarah. "If you can help someone, help them." Ethan closed his eyes, pulled out the last $80, and held it out. The woman's eyes widened. "I can't take that." "You can." "No. You need it more than I do." She stared at the bill, then at him, then back at the bill. "Do you even know me?" Ethan smiled softly. "No." "Then why?" He shrugged. "Because somebody once helped me when I needed it." The woman looked like she might cry. "You have no idea what this means." Ethan laughed quietly. "Honestly, neither do I." For the first time all day, the woman smiled. A real smile. Small but real. She accepted the money carefully, as though it were priceless. "Thank you. You're welcome." Ethan picked up his box, turned to leave. Then the woman asked, "What's your name?" "Ethan Ross." She repeated it slowly, almost like she wanted to remember it forever. "Ethan Ross." Then she extended her hand. "Margaret." Ethan shook it and walked away, never looking back, never expecting anything, never imagining that the woman on that bench wasn't who she appeared to be. Because Margaret wasn't homeless, she wasn't lost. And she certainly wasn't poor. She was Margaret Reeves, CEO of Reeves Global Holdings, one of the largest companies in America worth over $6 billion. That morning, she had disguised herself to conduct a private social experiment, a test she performed every year to understand how ordinary people treated strangers when nobody was watching. Most ignored her, some mocked her, a few offered sympathy, but only one person gave away his last $80. That person was Ethan Ross, and Margaret couldn't stop thinking about him. That night, she ordered her executive team to investigate. What they discovered shocked her. Widower, single father, recently fired, no criminal record, no debts beyond medical bills, excellent work history, respected everywhere he worked, and most importantly, the $80 he gave her was literally the last money in his account. Margaret stared at the report, speechless. He gave away his last $80. Yes. Knowing he had no job. Yes. Room became silent. Finally, Margaret spoke. "Find him." 3 weeks later, Ethan sat inside his tiny apartment reviewing job applications. Rejection after rejection. Interview after interview. Nothing. Bills piled higher. Savings disappeared. Hope became harder to find. Then a black luxury vehicle stopped outside his building. Ethan frowned. A knock followed. He opened the door. 3 people in expensive suits stood there. Behind them was Margaret, except this time she wasn't wearing worn clothes. She wore an elegant navy suit, diamond earrings, and the quiet confidence of someone accustomed to power. Ethan blinked. "Margaret." She smiled. "Hello, Ethan." His confusion deepened. "What is this?" Margaret stepped aside. The suited executives immediately straightened. One handed Ethan a polished wooden box. Ethan opened it. Inside was a silver key, not a house key, not a car key, a ceremonial company key. Ethan looked up. What is this? Margaret's eyes softened. A new beginning. He stared. I don't understand. Margaret smiled. 3 weeks ago, a man with nothing gave away everything he had. Ethan shook his head. It was $80. Margaret replied. It was character. Executives exchanged glances because they had never seen their CEO speak this way. Margaret continued. I own Reeves Global Holdings. Ethan nearly dropped the box. What? The executive beside her nodded. It's true. Ethan looked stunned. The woman from the park bench, the hungry stranger, the person he thought needed help, was a billionaire CEO. Before he could speak, Margaret handed him another envelope. Inside was not an employment contract, but a set of ownership papers. Margaret explained she was giving him a company of his own, a fully funded startup under the Reeves Global umbrella, with Ethan as founder and CEO. Seed capital, an executive team, an education fund for Sophie, and full backing from Reeves Global Holdings as its first investor. Ethan stared at the page, unable to breathe, unable to think, unable to understand. Why? Margaret smiled. Because skills can be taught. She pointed toward his chest. But integrity cannot. Tears filled Ethan's eyes. Not because of the money, not because of the company, because for the first time since Sarah died, life had finally given something back. And as Margaret placed the company key in his hand, neither of them realized something extraordinary. The key wasn't simply opening the door to a new venture. It was unlocking a secret connection between Ethan's late wife and Margaret's family. A connection buried for 15 years. A truth that would soon shock both of them and change their lives forever. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe to USA Enlightened Stories and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear what you think.